Hi there, it's Vanessa. I'm just going to show you quickly how to do or how to use a ring sling. Just some little tips and tricks that I found that have worked well for me. So to start out, some people will say to wear the rings on your less dominant shoulder so that your dominant arm is more free. I kind of think the opposite is what works for me anyways. I think that I want to wear my rings on my dominant shoulder because that's my strong shoulder and that's where I'm going to carry the weight. So really it's personal preference, but that's what I do. So I'm right-handed, my strong shoulder is my right shoulder. So the way I remember to get the ring sling on properly is I make sure that my tail is to my right side and that my rings are in my right hand. And then I just swim through and put it up and over my shoulder like a sling pouch. So one thing that really, if you don't know how to use ring slings properly, they can really suck and they can be really annoying. You just don't feel like you're doing it right. A big part of that is knowing where your top rail and your bottom rail is. So top rail is the rail that is closest to your face. Bottom rail is the rail that is closest away from your bottom. So closest to my face, closest to the bottom. So when I tighten the top, this is going to tighten the top of my sling. This is going to tighten my bottom. So sometimes they get tangled in the rings. So a good trick to getting them untangled is to spread them and just pull them apart like so. When I do that, you can see the rest of the sling is kind of tightening up against my body. This is really good before you've used the ring sling just to kind of get it sized properly for you and your baby. So what I do is I pull that top and that bottom rail, I kind of pull the slack, I get it nice and snug up against my body, and then I'm going to lift the rings to corsage area where I want them to be in the end. And I'm going to lift on that bottom ring, and I'm just going to tug, like just to loosen it, and I'm going to tug on that bottom rail, just the bottom, all the way to about my hip. I'm making that bottom, I need the extra slack to be in the bottom of the ring sling in order to have a comfortable carry. So I'm just pulling the bottom rail out, the top kind of goes with it. Okay, so now I've kind of set my ring sling. I'm going to put my rings on the very top of my shoulder because when I put baby in, the rings will drop, and then when I tighten, the rings are going to drop. And I'm aiming for a corsage area. So grab your baby. This is my new demo doll. So I'm excited to use him in this carry because my 2-year-old doesn't let me wear her. So anyways, we're going to put baby up on our shoulder, and then we're going to weave their little feet into the pocket, okay? Which can be sometimes the trickiest part of ring slings. Now we're going to keep holding on to our top rail of our pocket the entire time. This is a big deal breaker for the ring sling, what makes a really good ring sling carry. You're going to dig their little feet out of the bottom of the pocket, and then what I do is I hold the top rail and I kind of just bop baby down and scooch them down. And by holding this top rail, it's kept everything nice and flat across their back, and there's no creases and there's no bunching. That's awesome because you need all the extra fabric to be down under here to make their seat. So I'm going to kind of put baby 3/4 on my hip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab from underneath and in front of their legs, and I'm going to pull that pocket right up in between our bodies. You can see it right in between. Okay? So arms in, arms out, whichever you prefer. So you can see I have no creases. All that extra fabric is tucked up from knee to knee. Legs are in that good seated position, deep seat M. And then before I tighten, I'm going to pull the ring sling, and you can see the rings kind of fell down off my shoulder a little bit. I'm going to pull the rings over my shoulder, away from my neck so that it's not tightening on my neck. And now I'm going to tighten my top rail. So I find my top rail on my rings, and I'm going to pull forward and across. Same thing with my bottom, and then my bottom, I have to remember that I need this extra down here. I don't really want to tighten it very much. I'm just looking to tighten it across my back a little bit, but I'm not looking to tighten under here. I need it slack down here. So I'm just going to kind of snug on my bottom rail just a little bit so I can feel it tighten across my rib cage and my back. And then I can do this strand by strand in the middle, which honestly isn't very much if you tighten properly from the beginning. And there you go. My rings are in the end, in the corsage position. Baby's got that nice deep seat, legs in the M position. I could probably even spread this a little bit more to his knees. Some little adjusting afterwards is always good. Take a look in the mirror, check your work. And yeah, that's basically it. All right, thanks.